Good, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so yeah, let's get started. Let's get started. Just hit the record button. Any questions from Monday's class?
That was good.
All okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If you ever have questions, just ask me, guys. I always ask. It's just something, I don't know. I've always found I wish teachers would do, because sometimes I would do a class at night, and then as I slept, or maybe the next day I reflected on stuff, and maybe I had a different question. So um, you might want to think more about some of the stuff, because there should be some questions. I mean, not silly ones, but there should be some questions if you're naturally reflecting, because the way I teach it, it prompts a lot of questions. I know it's not easy to ask questions, but good ones are really, really, you should be looking for good questions, not solutions, but more questions. So the way we're going to go today, that I'd like to see it, is that we've been working a lot on kind of self examination and kind of self reflection and those kind of things. And it comes to me that maybe we're missing something a little bit. Okay, so hold on, I'm just going to admit one person. So you have the self, and like being self-aware. So that means like present. So I'm here right now, and I'm very present of the room that I'm in. I'm not in the future, and I'm not in the past, right? So, but there's three parts to this kind of training. There's the like subconscious self. So there's, I'm very aware, and then there's my subconscious, the things that are going on beyond my awareness, right? And you need to spend time with your subconscious too, right? Like the things that are going outside your awareness. So remember last week I had you guys walk, very deliberately walk, right? And clean that up, right? But so that is self-awareness, right? Like you're being very present with your walk. But active walking is subconscious. You don't really think about it much, right? Some saw Tom drinking his coffee. Like all those motions are subconscious. Like, and that's what our brains do. We try to free, because brain power wastes a lot of energy. I believe it's up to 40% of a human. So like what we waste a lot of our energy on is thinking. Like that's why people that work in offices get so tired. It's hard for them to come home and work out. They're just mentally drained, right? And it takes a lot of energy out of you. So um, our human evolution tried to push as much of our stuff to the subconscious so that we cannot think so much, right? So routine stuff, brushing your teeth, fixing your hair, having a coffee, walking, we try to push it to our subconscious. It's fine, but we also need to bring it to a place of self-awareness, right? Much like eating's the same. You don't think about it, right? But when you start to think about every cue that you do, it changes. You bring a level of presence to it, right? So in martial art training, there's a lot that's subconscious, and then we need to bring it to the self-awareness level, right? This is important. Is everybody with me on this? You see that? I hope you all see it, guys. But then there's one other one. So we have self-awareness being, let's say, ground zero. And then we have subconscious being below that, right? And then we have something, you can use different words for it, but like a super consciousness, like above it. And that's like where you're so aware of the things that give you energy and take energy from you, like in the future. So you know the foods that you like to do. Hold on, guys. Let me just mute everybody. There's somebody typing, so I just want you guys to get all of that. Okay. So if you want to talk to me, guys, you're gonna have to unmute. Okay. Just want to clear all the background noise. So you have the super consciousness, or I'm going to call it super, but you can put whatever word you want. It's above self-conscious. It's above like the present. It's in the future. And what that is it's like, I guess you can call it as visualization, or you can, but you're so aware of the foods and the places and the people that give you energy, or you're ahead of it. You're not. So if I know that, I love that I get very, very stressed if I watch the news late at night, I probably avoid that, right? But what if I knew that having some really, or going for a nice long walk just before I go to bed calms me down, or reading a really good book just before I go to bed really enhances my sleep. So we're talking about the things that take you to the next level, right? Before I used to go to training, I always say to myself, what would get me ready for what my teacher might have to say? So if I'm going to a systemic class and I really want to get the most out of it, it might be good if I maybe stay quiet for a half hour, or maybe I read some systemic literature so that I'm already in that headspace before I show up, right? Like, what if I were to do that so that I'm beyond ready for the present? I'm above this. I'm actually ahead of it, and putting myself in the best possible place to learn, right? The best possible plane to learn. And the super consciousness is really you creating a buffer against stress. Like, it's not just showing up like ready, but showing up full of energy and ready to conquer your training, mental, physical, and psychologically, above the present moment. And this is what I'll try to show you today, if you can, okay? And for some of you, sorry not to talk too much, guys, but it is important what I have to say. So I want to make sure you guys at least walk away with the explanation, right? So there is great value in my life living on the moment. Like, I get up in the morning, I walk outside, and then I just see this beautiful market that's selling fresh fruit, let's say. It's amazing for me to be able to sit there and say, man, I'm going to grab those oranges. They're delicious. I didn't plan on it, but I'm going to do that. There's great value in me going out my front door and seeing a neighbor who's having a bad day and just taking 5 minutes and talking with them and calming them down, meaning very present. I don't have to do that, but I noticed it. And so I'm able to operate at the moment of what I see. But there's also great value in me planning my day. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a plan, right? There is nothing wrong with that. So there is great value in planning, and there's great value in living on the moment. But the planning is ahead of it, and the moment is on the moment, right? So I do this for all these classes. I plan what I'd like to teach you, but when I teach, I can dump a plan as quickly as I can. If I see it, I'll just dump it. I've done it many times. You guys have been to classes I've taught where you saw it going one way and I went another way because I felt it was necessary. So I plan, but I'm also willing to dump the plan very quickly if need be. Does that make sense, guys? So I do want you to plan your day. I do want you to plan. So what do I plan my day? I plan my morning. I know what I want to eat in the morning. I know what I want to read. I know what I want to accomplish in the first hour of my day. I plan that out and I'm regimented with it. And then I also plan out the rest of my day, but that can change depending on what happens. So I want you guys to understand the value of being ahead of it, like the super consciousness, being present, and then also understanding what happens at the subconscious level. Like, those three are what make up what people will call awareness, or the being that you are, right? We have a higher level, a present level, and a subconscious level. And you need to know how those three interact with each other, right? So hopefully today I'll show you how to do that. And hopefully you can see it in your training, because when people come at me in system and say, grab me or punch me or something, I can operate at a subconscious level, right? I can operate at a very present level, and I can operate well ahead of it, right? Depends what I see and how I want to work, right? Make sense? There's some good footage of, if you really want to see this operate, of, I believe it's Vladimir's 20-year anniversary, and there was a big festival and it was videotaped. Michael came into town, and there was a big demonstration I did with Michael to start off this joyous event. So they gave me a knife and they just said, go attack this guy. And I just attacked him for 10 minutes with the knife, and he was very present with me. Like, it was insane. Every time I tried to stab him, he was present. He was very present at every moment, you know. But then at the very end, there was a moment where it was all subconscious, and it was crazy. It was really good. I don't speak Russian, and there was a translator translating what was happening. And I was just in a zone. I'm just attacking him with a knife and watching this big man like be very present. And then at one point he said, okay, that's good. But the translator was slow to translate this. So I gave him one last attack and he thought it was over. So he was completely not present and he went subconscious. And the subconscious act was to move and punch me square in the face. And it knocked my jaw. Like, it was, I knew he didn't see it. And I knew he was not aware, very present. And he hit me in the face. It was all over the video. My whole world went bloop, bloop. And I just saw what happens when you scare a guy that can operate at a subconscious level. He was able to protect himself beyond his own awareness. I tell you, it was beautiful to see. And I'll never forget it because it was a month before I could chew straight. Like this. I couldn't bite into a sandwich. My jaw was on one side from the punch. And then he started laughing. And his words to the translator were, see, some things are lost in translation. Right? It was, I didn't hear the translation, so I got punched in the face, and I was amazing. So to see that here's this great master, what made him amazing was he could be very present, he could work at a subconscious level, and I know he can work at a higher level, at a super consciousness level, right? So I hope that you guys start to see this with what I'm going to show you today. All right, make sense? Make sense? Okay, good. So stand up. Let's get started. Stand up. Okay, stay nice and straight, just like upright, nice and straight. Everybody can hear me fine, I hope. Not too much banging. Good. So I want you just to stay still and breathe. And what I'd like you to do is, in your mind, plan out your first two steps. So don't do them, but in your mind, think about taking two steps forward, and don't do them, but just think about it. Think about how they will look in your head. So you're planning your first two steps. I don't care what kind of steps they are. They can be small. They should probably just be normal steps. And when you feel that image is very clear in your mind and the direction that you're going to go, I want you to go do it. So think about it first and then go do it. And then you stop. And then now think about another direction. I don't care where it is. It could be backwards, right? It could be sideways. But whatever, before you do it, you think about it. And the think should be clear as day, like exactly each step and how you're going to proceed with this. So it is not unknown. And I want you to look how you feel when things are planned out. So I plan my steps and then I go do them. There's something very interesting about thinking about something and then going to go do it. And it should be exactly how you visioned it. It shouldn't be different. It should be the way your arms will move, the way you'll breathe, the type of pressure you're going to put on your foot. I want you to plan out as much as you possibly can. So before you do something, you've already planned it and it's clear as day in your head. You can play with the speed. They can be fast steps. They can be slow steps. They can be anywhere between 1 to 5. You don't want to do more than that. You plan out your first 4 or 5 steps. And whatever you thought or whatever you planned, go do it. Very good. Now stop for a second, stay still. And now I want you just to do the same thing, but without a plan at all. So you just start to move. And if you like, think about something else, like maybe, I don't know, think about something you read, or think about maybe something that happened yesterday, and just start to move around the room without any plan about where you're going to go. And just think about something else, or think about nothing, and just kind of move randomly for no apparent reason. And you can kind of switch back and forth. You can plan your steps, or you can be free and do whatever you like, and play with those two states, a plan and no plan. Awesome, guys. Come close, please. Just unmute everybody. Okay, hope everybody can hear me. I muted everybody, so just keep the background noise a little bit quieter. We can all be okay. So all of this means nothing, what you just did, if you can't have the ability to self-examine right now. So you need to self-examine. Ask yourself the why question, right? The why question. So why did you feel different when you planned and when you didn't plan? Okay, so for me, if I had to think of it, when I plan, I feel a little bit more comfortable. So when I was standing up and I said 4 steps that way, and then I just did the 4 steps, I was like, I didn't need to think, because I already knew exactly what I was going to do. So I didn't need to plan at all, right? When I planned it out, I calmed down because I knew exactly what was going to go on. When I didn't plan, I became more free. I didn't feel as comfortable. I mean, I felt comfortable, I felt free, but it was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, right? I'm not sure where this is going, right? So if I had to give a speech, I plan my speech out. I know what I'm going to say. If I'm just going to be in front and just talk, I feel free because I can say whatever I want, but I'm not sure how things will go either. So I'm a little uneasy about how this will go, right? So if you've ever had to do that at a meeting, or had to give somebody some feedback that might be uncomfortable, you never know how it will go. It can go explode, or it can go quite nice, right? So did you guys feel something like that? Did you feel how when you planned it, there was a comfort to your walk, and when you didn't plan it, it wasn't you were uncomfortable, but things were more up in air? Anything? Did anybody feel something like that?
It's just less connected to the source. When you do something that's planned, it's connected to the source.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a different connection for sure when you have a plan. Yes, Jake.
I don't mean to be obstructionist, but it worked better for me the other way.
That's fine. No. I don't listen, guys. I want you to remember this. the more you know what you will do, I'm happy. I don't need you to, I'm just telling you what it was like for me, right? There's nothing right or wrong about this. You're asking a question and you're not necessarily looking for an answer. You're looking for an understanding. Guys, this is a problem with our society. We want answers. Answers are not what we need. Their life is about, I need an understanding. I need to understand this. You know, there needs to be some sort of understanding rather than a definitive answer. Yeah, Jacob.
I found when I planned more than 3 steps, there's a little confusion at the end, like I was thinking too much.
Okay. Miro, did you have a question there?
I just want to say that for me, too much planning was like too strict, too tight, without any options.
Okay.
I felt like Tom the same way, better when with no planning, but I also saw a lot of advantage and a lot of contribution when I planned a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, like some you plan the first step, but not 10, and you plan direction in a step, something like a fusion.
Listen, I'm not telling you one is better than the other. I've played with all, and what's worked for me is I plan, but I will dump the plan as fast as I can if I see something else. I will abandon it quickly. I will just, it'll change for me. I'm not afraid of getting rid of the plan at all. I can change it in a moment's notice, right? And believe me, I've planned out some wonderful fishing trips, and I said, we're going to fish here, here, and here. And then I go there and I'm like, we're going over there. And we've had some amazing luck. You need a plan, but you need to be able to dump it quickly. But that is hard. That's hard because you always want to stick to your plan. That's the dilemma, right? And my coach was famous for this in football. He used to draw out a plan of what we would do, and every single plan ended with a touchdown. And I'm like, but coach, we don't score every play we do this. And he just looked at me straight. He goes, "There's a fucking touchdown." That's all he said. He was like, "I don't care what you say. In my mind, it's a touchdown. I don't care if it doesn't happen." But in his mind, it did, right? And I understood after a while that what he was like, right? In my mind, it's perfect, but I know it'll never be this way. But at least in my mind, I have a clear image, and then I can change.
I think the value of the plan is that
this is what I hope you see, okay? And this process of like, it might be very general. You might just know. Sorry, Tom.
I'm just going to say that I think the value
I
of
missed
the
it, Tom. I
plan
don't know if you cut out there.
is before you get involved, that it provides a calmness for the thing that's coming. But when you're in the thing, you have to be prepared to go with the flow. You can't control everything, but at least you're in a good space to use all your resources because you've calmed yourself down.
Okay.
Somebody said about, they draw plans for war.
Yeah.
But that war in actuality is chaos.
Yeah.
And so the one who is successful is he's used the plan to put the tanks in the right place, and he's done all of those things. He knows everything else. But the one who's successful is the one who can react to how the thing unfolds. Right?
Right. But you're right. Jake?
I think
That's
like, if you're, let's say you're playing hockey and I'm playing with Patrick, I'm going to go down the right wing and I say, you come behind me, I'll drop it back. All of a sudden that doesn't work out. I have to be able to change it right on the fly. So does he too. He has to be able to read my mind because I know he's going to go into the middle and I'll just throw it into there for him, sort of thing. So you always got to be ready to.
But guys, look at what you're describing now. So as a hockey player, you're very present, right? You're very present, but something you've played it so long that you're at a super conscious level that you know how things will be. You're ahead of it before it's even happened. You've already know each other so well that you're able to read that Patrick will go there and I'll go there, and it hasn't happened. And nobody talked to anybody. You just understood this, right?
Yeah.
This is the super level. This is that higher level that you know yourself so well, and meaning your true self so well that you know where you should be. Like you're ahead of it. You're not only present, you're ahead of it. This is very powerful. This to me is
Just
the
remember-
level that you cannot reach unless you take a lot of time with.
Just remember Wayne Gretzky's famous quote that what makes him different from other players is that he skates to where the puck is going.
I always skated to where
That's what
it
I'm saying.
bends.
He's that guy, guys. That's the super level. Yeah. He was at the super level. Don't you ever marvel those guys that just know where they should be before it happens? It's amazing. And it's not luck. These people that can do this almost consistently all the time, they can do this. It's really special place. And you can do that in your martial art training. And I hope you all kind of find that, right? So I'm just showing you ways of practicing it and then hopefully seeing it in the martial arts in the future or in other aspects of your life. But you cannot reach this like super self without putting in a lot of time on the present, and without a lot of time understanding the subconscious. It's the last one that develops. It's not possible to do it like that, or you really have to work on yourself a lot. Okay, let's try it a different way now. Let's try just a different way. So you're going to do it with, let's say, your push-up. So you're going to lie down, right? And just wait before you go. You're just going to lie down, and you're just going to, in your mind, before you start, plan out exactly the speed, the tempo, the style of push-up, and you're just going to go do the push-up, right? And then do that a bunch of times, and then just do push-ups for no apparent reason. To have no order or random to them, and see if you can feel the difference between planning and unplanning in this way. Okay, try it on your own now. Let me just mute everybody. Boom. Remember, very important to have as clear a vision. So when you plan, and you want to bring as much depth and color to those plans, like what will the push-up look like, the speed of the push-up, the type of push-up you're going to do. There's all kinds of types, right? You know, this is important. And then don't plan. And then just do them for no apparent reason and no rhythm at all. Nice, Patrick, nice. When you're planning, plan how you want them to look. Plan the speed, plan as much, the hand position, the leg position, plan the number, plan as much as you can, bring as much detail to the plan as you can. You know, think of it like a surgeon, like as much detail. Think of a general, you know, how he plans the strategy, like detail. And then when you don't plan, don't really plan at all. You can also try the same thing with leg raises. You can try the same thing with body raises. You can try the same thing with squats, any exercise. I don't care what it is, guys. It doesn't matter. As long as you plan and then don't plan. and see and do a self-examination. Try to pick up the differences. Because each exercise will be different. Sometimes you feel it more with one and not with the other as much. Jaker, you see at the very bottom of the squat that you're doing now, go down all the way and see that little spongy part. See that little bounce down there? Just bounce a little bit at the bottom, bounce, and now bounce up. Yeah, don't hold the bottom. Like as you go down, kind of spring up a little bit, not fast, but yeah, exactly. This way you don't hold tension in your knees. You want to find that spongy, right? If when you stop at the bottom of a squat, it's like you put the knees under pressure. The same in the push-up. You try to kind of find a sponginess, right? You don't find a stiffness in the shoulders. Jill, you can do any of this with any of your yoga poses. Anything that works with that is fine. As long as you bring lots of detail to it, like planning, and then no planning is fine. Just one more minute, guys. Just one more. Awesome, guys. Good. Come around. Just unmute everybody. Okay. Did you find any difference maybe that you couldn't see in the walking? Could you see anything different with the exercises at all? Did the planning, was different planning or freedom with the exercises at all?
I felt nice doing random.
Sorry, I can't, Miro, I can't hear you. You got to speak up.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there, yeah, a little bit. Go ahead. Oh, Alberto, sorry. Go ahead. Yep.
No problem. No. I felt nice doing like randomly, push-ups, squats, and leg raises, and without planning.
Good. So I used to work out at the gym religiously before Sistema, and I used to have a regimented plan. And then now, if I ever go to a gym, we can't now, but if I could ever go, I do whatever I want. I go in there and I don't have any plan. I just have fun with any machine I can get on, and I don't have any plan. And I'm so happy. I feel free.
Sure, yeah.
There are other
That's what I felt.
There are
I felt happy and loose and free.
Yeah. So sometimes a plan, if it's too much detail, is not what you want. So I find that when we say plan, how much detail? So, you know, if I'm going on a vacation, I don't mind having a few things I want to do, but have you ever traveled with somebody who plans out your entire vacation? Like you hate those people, but we do that to ourselves. Maybe what we've done wrong is when we say plan, we only say one type, like maybe we just need a general plan might be what works for us best. Maybe I like a few activities a day and the rest I want on my own. Maybe that makes me happy. The key here is happy. That's the key, because there is a point where I've seen some people work out with plans and they are so unhappy. because it's just too much detail. It's just too complicated to follow. So you got to figure that out. I've seen people do that in Systema. They start really happy, and then they start thinking like they want to get really good, and they plan it all out. And then before I know it, they're not unhappy. They're unhappy with their training. It's because you're not happy. That's why you're not learning, is because you're not happy, right? A quick one for Jill, and a really funny story for all of you guys. So about vacation and yoga. So Jill, I've never done yoga in my life. I maybe did one class like back in the 80s when I was in university, okay? And that was when it was really new. And I remember at that day, I said, there's a lot to yoga. It's actually very powerful, but it wasn't ready for me at that time, but I knew there was great benefit for people, right? So then fast forward years later, I'm in Mexico on vacation with my family. So it was the first night we got to this resort in Mexico, and the kids were sleeping, my wife was sleeping, and I got up early because the bed was extremely uncomfortable and my back was sore. So I opened up the way. It was beautiful outside. There was nobody out there. So I walk out to the beach and lay a towel down. It's early morning. The sun is gorgeous, and I see in the distance there's like a fitness class being held on, like somewhere, right? I decided, nah, I'm just gonna. And I was lying there in the hot sun, and I started to kind of stretch myself out. I was just stretching. I was just moving and trying to find, and I felt the sun on my face and the sand was on my elbow, and I'm just taking all these positions. Well, lo and behold, the yoga instructor is walking by after the class finishes, and he just stops and he goes, oh my God, he goes, that's amazing. He goes, you must have studied yoga somewhere. Like, where did you study yoga from? I said, I studied no yoga whatsoever. The sun is over there. My wife was on the balcony. I was trying to look at her. I was reaching for my toe, and my back was hurting me over here. And I ended up taking this position. And apparently it was some high-level yoga position. Guys, no word of a lie. And it dawned on me, Jill, at one point that 3,000 years ago, some Indian guy went on a vacation with his family. Slept on a bed that was uncomfortable and uncovered the secrets that you have right now. Like, we have no idea. It is not about doing mindless poses. It's about understanding what tightens your body and doing what's necessary for you, correct?
Yeah.
And so I want people not just to do Systema, but what is for them is important. Like if my shoulders are fine and I'm just doing this for what reason? Like, there's not all aspects are necessary every day. Certain will be more than others, right? Sometimes strength, sometimes flexibility, sometimes just movement, sometimes just breathing on every given day. And how will you figure that out if you're not self-aware, if you're not present, if you're not understand your subconscious, if you don't kind of go ahead of you? See where this is all going, guys? Like, at some point, some guy had a bad night's sleep. Right, and then that's the root of all invention. Somebody said, I need light. I can't see in the dark now. Invented light. Some guy got tired. Some guy got tired of where he lived. He hopped on a log and sailed across the ocean to get to somewhere else because he wanted peace and quiet. Not because he wanted to invent anything. He was annoyed with his family. He said, I'm going to go over there for some peace and quiet. It wasn't anything profound. It can be something as simple as something like that, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so let's try it with some different aspects now. So I don't know if anybody has a training knife. It can be I don't care, just something indicative of a knife. If you can grab it for me, that would be great. Jill, anything there, a pen, if you don't have a training knife or a letter opener. Oh, a marker is good too. Deadly marker. Wouldn't want to be marked, that's for sure. So you hold the knife in your hand comfortably, right? Just it's good at the beginning to be comfortable. And what I want you to do is just plan your first move with the knife. So it can be like a straight thrust forward, right? And then put it back. So just plan it now. I don't care what it is. It could be a slash, whatever it is, you clearly put it in your mind and then you go do it. Okay, so it's exactly like all the stuff we've been doing. Doesn't matter where. Try to be accurate, guys. Like try to, in your mind, envision exactly where you want it and how it will be, right? And go to there as quick, or slow, like whatever you imagined in your head, do that, okay? And if you do one and you want to plan a second move, do one or two moves, right? Think of a boxer, guys. He plans out his 3 punches or 4 punches like combination, but they're clearly planned out. You know, he's practicing clearly planned out things. And it can be in the left hand, it can be in the right hand, it can be behind you, in front of you, as long as you plan out. And please make sure you slow it down, guys. Slow it down and plan. Like it's clear. It shouldn't be, you don't want to bridge over. You want to know exactly what you've done and how you've done it. And you might want to combine it with, in your mind, 2 steps forward and then a stab. That's fine too. Like you can combine the, you know, planned walking and a stabbing. It's also fine too. Okay, now the opposite. Now just start to move the knife freely. For you, it didn't matter where it went, okay? Very random. You feel free to work with the knife how you like. It helps sometimes if you think about something else, like just you completely allow the knife to work without any plan whatsoever. Awesome. Just put the knife aside for a second. Now I want you to do the same thing with like stuff like punches and kicks. So it's a plan. So I'm standing nice and straight. I'm going to take 1, 2 on the second step. I'm going to throw a punch. So I'm completely planning out my punches and kicks. Take a step or 2, throw a punch. And it's very clear in your mind, guys. Make it super clear, not a general. How many steps, which hand is going to punch, what type of punch is it going to be, And what effect would you like it to have? Like, plan it out, even though there's nobody there, plan it out. What do you hope to accomplish? You know, so it's complete plan. Think of a boxer, 1, 2, 3. He has in his mind the combinations clear that he wants to execute, you know, punch, kick, elbow, anything in the realm of martial arts, but it's completely planned. Okay. In karate, this would be a form or a kata that they would practice. It's completely planned. It's known, it's measured, it's perfected. In boxing, it would be the 5-punch combination. Everything is planned out. It's known and it's practiced like that as a plan. Awesome, guys. Come around. Just unmute everybody here. Okay. How was it with like the knife and the kind of martial art, more martial arty aspects? Did you see it different than the walking and the exercises at all? Anything? So I know a lot, maybe this is for you fine, maybe you very agree with what I said, but so when I first started Sistema, I was just an avid student and it was all so refreshing for me to train in because I came from art background that was very rigid. This is what you did. This is how you did it. Everything was planned. There was very little sparring, as they call it. That's the unpredictable part, right? Where people can do whatever they want, right? It was little unpredictable. But even within what they called unpredictable, there was a lot of predictability, right? There's certain rules. You couldn't do everything. Couldn't bite the person. You couldn't throw a chair at the person, like stuff that happens outside. So it dawned on me that this was the problem that a lot of martial arts had, is that they plan everything out, the lessons they're going to teach, the different criteria that it takes to get a white belt, a black belt, like everything is planned out and you have to meet that criteria and then you're supposedly a black belt. But the problem is in all of that is that if you're talking about fighting or real life situations, there is not a lot of planning and things are very unpredictable, right? So you now have a flaw in your training. It becomes a flaw. So I saw that flaw because I was wrestling in high school, and wrestling maybe is not deemed as a martial art, but I can tell you it is very effective. And this was before MMA. And I remember looking at my martial art teachers at that time and saying, guys, the stuff you're doing right now, a couple of amateur wrestlers here will take you down, and they're going to show you some interesting stuff. They thought they were the toughest people in the whole world, and I'm like, I'm disagreeing right now. And I don't have much experience in wrestling, but I know that those guys will grab those legs and take you down as fast as you can blink. Okay, and they didn't want to acknowledge that because they have a plan for everything. Everything had a plan. If you do this, I'm just going to do this. I'm like, your plan's not going to work. And when I came across Sistema, what I loved about it was that they planned, But then there was also lots of training in unpredictable things. And so you have this play of like, I love the comfort of a plan, but I also know things can get unpredictable. And I have to be okay with both. Okay. At an amateur level, or a beginner level, a teacher loves to plan. When I first started teaching, I planned everything out. Okay. And it gave me comfort to plan it out. It allowed me better to do it. But then I realized that I'll be nothing but an amateur or an intermediate level teacher doing that. The teachers that go to the next level are the ones that are able to adapt each class and for each specific student. The teacher that is able to really be a powerful teacher learns that you teach to a class, but you need to teach to each individual class. There is no way to say everybody's going to do this and that's it. You have to be able to know that every person is different, and you need to be able to touch that person in the way they need to be touched, physically, internally, everything, right? So I started teaching with this idea of not planning, but then being able to dump the plan. And I noticed my classes were going to very special places that I could never go to as a planned thing. So the question for you guys will be that I do want you to plan, because I think there's some benefits and comfort, but I want you to be able to dump it as fast as you can, because your real secret to becoming a very special person in the people's lives, whatever it is that you do, is your ability to dump the plan and work with what you get at that moment. Okay. And then if you do that enough, you'll start to see that super level, which I'm talking super level of conscious, where you're at places that haven't happened yet. The Wayne Gretzky's, as Oleg mentioned, right? Where you are able to see things before they happen, not as a guess, but as this is where I need to be, right? And it's very special, you know. And I think all of you possess it, and including myself, but we might doubt it more often than not. There's some stuff I've doubted about myself, and good friends of mine have helped me see that I shouldn't doubt myself. So sometimes we need to be there for each other and say, you know what you were thinking is bang on, and don't doubt yourself again, because doubting yourself will get you in trouble in life. Try to learn how to trust yourself when you get those interesting feelings. Okay, guys? Does that make sense? You guys feel that? It's very interesting to me to teach you guys this, because it's very hard to teach it over the internet. And I'm hoping that even if you can catch 10% of this or 15% of this, it's powerful. Okay. There was a book I'm going to share with you guys soon. It's called the 10% Better book or something. I can't remember it. I kind of skimmed it. I'm going to be reading in detail. Guys, if you can make the commitment to yourself that you're going to be 10% better than you were last year. And I'm being honest, that's all you need to do. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need to change everything. Just say to yourself, 10%. I'm going to eat 10% better than I did last year. I'm going to drink 10% more water than last year. I'm going to read 10% more than and you're going to be amazing. You don't have to make profound changes. Just say to yourself, my system is going to be 10% better. So I'm going to breathe. I'm going to move. Just 10%, not 20, not 50, 10%. And you watch the difference. Okay. There are some famous people that, if any of you have been following cycling, a guy, an avid cyclist, the British cycling team was one of the most embarrassing teams in the whole world in cycling. And all of a sudden that program changed its way because the coach had a 10% rule. I want the bikes to be 10% faster. I want the cyclists to be 10% stronger. I want the bikes to be 10% lighter. I want the uniform that they wear to be 10% sleeker, so that air travels. And now those 10% made British cycling change their entire course. And his philosophy was 10% better. That's all you need to do. That's pretty profound, man. It's pretty. You don't need to make a huge change. This, I'm hoping, will be much more than 10% for you guys, if you can grasp it. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. It's been a lot said. It's quite heavy. I hope you can apply it to a lot of the stuff you do, and think about the super self, the very present, kind of like self awareness of the present level, and then a subconscious awareness, as well as the top. Those three are where you need to be. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'll see you next week, Monday. Take care, guys. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, Manny, just wanted to say,
Yeah.
yeah, just that I felt that it was more beneficial for me to work on the opposite way than I feel natural. Like that when I'm a person like Tom, not planning at all, that it was more beneficial for me to planning all the movements, but also that I don't plan in the movement, but I plan the other stuff. That's it's like attention and relaxation. Is it the same way?
It can be. It can be. I don't want to tell you what it was. I just want you to try it. I want you to take a day and plan it out, and then take a day and don't plan it out. And you might find there's a little bit of benefit in both, and maybe you need to be a little bit of both. So I'll plan a few things and I'll leave a lot. So I don't know, man. It's different for everybody. You know, like I've gone on vacations where I didn't want to be touched. I don't want to plan a damn thing. There are other vacations I wanted to plan so much because it depends on what I'm doing. Right? I came from a strong wrestling background where every move was planned, every exercise that when I found system of movement and no planning, I was so happy. I didn't want to plan a damn thing. So it depends where you're at on the spectrum, right? So there's not right or wrong. It's more what's going to be good for you, right? Does that make sense? Don't stop saying like this is a good life, this is a bad life. Please start saying it's like this is good for me, and maybe for other people it's something different, right? This is powerful. Too much judging and not enough understanding ourselves and being kind to ourselves in that level. Okay. Really, we got to get away from this. I've seen it in all communities, martial arts, system, everything. Just whatever is good for you. I'm happy. You know, that's what should guide us, not right and wrong.
Power of play.
Yeah,
Right?
thanks.
The power of
You're
play.
welcome. Yeah, guys, please enjoy just think about it. Share your comments with me anytime and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.